Welcome back, my friends, to the Midnight Fire. Tonight, we're journeying deep into the wilderness, to a place whispered about in hushed tones by seasoned hikers and park rangers alike. A place they call the Mountain of Missing Shadows. Our story begins with a young, ambitious park ranger named Liam. Fresh out of training, he was assigned to the vast, sprawling national park that cradled this notorious mountain. He'd heard the rumors, of course. Stories of hikers who went in and never came out, their gear found neatly stacked, their tents zipped up, but no sign of them. The old-timers called it the mountain's collection. They said the mountain was hungry, that it took people and left nothing behind but their shadows. Liam, ever the pragmatist, dismissed these tales as campfire ghost stories. He believed in logic, in evidence, in the tangible world. But the mountain had other plans for him. His first few months were uneventful. He patrolled the lower trails, helped lost tourists, and filled out endless paperwork. The mountain of missing shadows loomed in the distance, a silent, imposing giant. He felt its presence, a constant weight on the horizon, but he kept his distance. Then came the call. A group of 4 experienced climbers had gone missing. They were attempting a new, treacherous route up the mountain's eastern face. Their last contact was a garbled radio message about strange, shifting shadows and a feeling of being watched. Liam's supervising ranger, a grizzled veteran named Al, looked at him with grim eyes. "They're gone, son," Al said, his voice raspy. "The mountain's taken them?" But Liam couldn't accept that. Protocol demanded a search and rescue operation, and he volunteered to lead a team. The ascent was brutal. The air grew thin and cold, and a strange, oppressive silence enveloped them. The usual sounds of the forest, the birds, the insects, the rustling of leaves were gone. All they could hear was the crunch of their boots and the pounding of their own hearts. As they climbed higher, they started noticing it. The shadows. They weren't behaving correctly. A tree's shadow would stretch too long, or a rock's would flicker and dance as if it had a life of its own. One of the team members, a woman named Sarah, swore she saw a shadow detach from a cliff face and dart into the woods. Liam tried to rationalize it, altitude sickness, tricks of the light, but a knot of unease was tightening in his stomach. They found the climbers' base camp 2 days later, just below the summit. It was just as the legends described. Tents were zipped, sleeping bags rolled, and a pot of half-eaten stew sat over a cold fire pit. It was as if the 4 climbers had simply vanished into thin air. There were no tracks leading away from the camp, no signs of a struggle, no indication of a fall or an animal attack. It was utterly, terrifyingly still. As the sun began to set, casting long, distorted shadows across the desolate landscape, the true horror began. The team's own shadows started to move. They twisted and writhed, elongating and contracting independently of their owners. Liam watched in disbelief as his own shadow slowly stood up, a dark, 2-dimensional silhouette separating itself from the ground. It had his shape, his form, but it was empty, a void in the shape of a man. Panic erupted. The team scrambled, their screams swallowed by the mountain's vast silence. One by one, Liam saw his teammates. Shadows detach and merge with the creeping darkness that was now flowing down the mountainside, like a black, viscous river. The shadows of the missing climbers were there, 2 dark figures moving with a sinister grace among the trees. Liam ran. He didn't know where he was going. He just ran down the treacherous slopes, stumbling over rocks and roots. He could feel his own shadow trying to pull away, a cold, tugging sensation at his heels. He didn't dare look back. He could hear a sound now, a soft, dry whispering, like dead leaves skittering across pavement. It was the sound of the shadows, and it was getting closer. He burst out of the tree line at dawn, collapsing at the edge of the lower trails where the search had begun. He was alone. When the rescue team found him, he was delirious, muttering about living shadows and a hungry mountain. They found no trace of his team. No gear, no bodies, nothing. It was as if they had never been there. Al, the old ranger, just nodded slowly when he heard Liam's frantic story. "You're lucky, son," he said, placing a heavy hand on Liam's shoulder. "You're the only one I've ever known to come back. But the mountain kept a part of you, didn't it?" Liam didn't understand until he was back in the safety of his cabin. He stood in front of a mirror, turning on every light he could find. No matter how the light hit him, no matter which way he turned, he cast no shadow. Liam resigned from the Park Service the next day. He couldn't bear to look at the mountain, couldn't stand the sight of other people's shadows moving so normally, so tethered to their owners. He moved to a city, a place of concrete and steel, hoping to lose himself in the crowds. But he could never escape the feeling of being watched, of being incomplete. Sometimes on a bright, sunny day, he would see them out of the corner of his eye dark, fleeting shapes darting in alleyways, flitting across walls, the missing shadows. And he knew with a chilling certainty that they were waiting for him to return to the place where he lost a part of himself, to the mountain of missing shadows. And one day he knows he will have to go back. The mountain is patient. The mountain always collects. Thank you for joining me around the midnight fire. What do you think happened to the shadows? Are they souls or something else entirely? Let me know in the comments below. Stay safe out there, and remember, always check your shadow. Until next time.